A Leukemia Journey, Finding Hope in the Fight. For Matthew, the change was subtle. It wasn't a sudden crash, but a slow fading of the lights. He found himself pausing halfway up the stairs, his breath catching in a way it never used to. He told himself it was just a busy month, a lack of sleep, or the weight of being 40. He didn't realize that his body was trying to whisper a secret it couldn't keep much longer. Then came the marks. Small purple-red dots appeared on his shins, like a constellation of tiny stars, and a dark bruise bloomed on his arm from a simple bump against a doorway. Matthew looked at his reflection in the office window, noticing his skin looked like parchment. He knew that while some things in life are meant to be ignored, the language of the body demands a translator.
Dr. Davis sat across from him, her office filled with the quiet hum of a computer and the scent of green tea. She explained that Matthew's white blood cells, the very soldiers meant to protect him, were being produced too fast and without a purpose. "It is called leukemia," she said gently. "It's a disruption in the rhythm of your bone marrow." Matthew felt the world tilt, but Dr. Davis's steady gaze held him in place. "Is it something I did?" Matthew asked. Dr. Davis shook her head. She spoke about the risks, things like long-term exposure to high levels of benzene, certain types of radiation, or a history of smoking. She explained that while many cases have no clear cause, understanding environmental risks and genetic predispositions helps in catching the rhythm early. Knowledge, she said, is the first step in regaining control.
The days that followed were a blur of terminology and tests. Matthew learned that management wasn't a single act, but a symphony of interventions. He sat in the waiting room, watching the clock tick. He felt the weight of the diagnosis, but also a strange new clarity. He wasn't just a patient. He was a person navigating a new landscape, and he needed a map. Dr. Davis outlined the path forward. "We manage this with precision," she explained, discussing targeted therapies and, if necessary, chemotherapy. She emphasized the importance of a strong medical team and adhering strictly to the schedule. "We don't just treat the cells, we support the person. We manage the side effects, the nutrition, and the spirit all at once." Back at home, Matthew began his new routine. Prevention of complications became his daily ritual. He washed his hands with the care of a surgeon, prepared meals rich in antioxidants, and avoided large crowds to protect his compromised defenses. He realized that while he couldn't prevent the leukemia itself, he could prevent the obstacles that might hinder his recovery. In a support group, Matthew met Soren, a man who had been navigating the same waters for 3 years. Soren moved with a quiet confidence that Matthew admired. They sat on a bench in the hospital courtyard, the sun warming their shoulders. "The hardest part isn't the medicine," Soren shared. "It's learning to live in the in-between, without letting fear take the wheel." Soren smiled, a look of weathered resilience on his face. "You learn to celebrate the small wins, Matthew. A good blood count, a day without nausea, a walk in the park. Management is about more than survival. It's about reclaiming the quality of your hours." He placed a steady hand on the bench, a silent gesture of solidarity that spoke louder than any textbook. Matthew stood by his window, watching the city pulse with life. He wasn't the same man who had been tired a few months ago. He was informed, he was vigilant, and he was fighting. He knew the rhythm of his blood was different now, but he had learned to dance to it. With Dr. Davis's guidance and Soren's wisdom, Matthew walked into the light of a new day, prepared for the journey. Subscribe to Med Simple TV for more simple and clear health education videos every week.